Most of us will never create a world-changing technology, such as the iPhone that you might be viewing this presentation on, nor propose a scientific theory that changes the way that humans perceive their coming to be, as Darwin did. But many of us can relate to an aha moment, the time that you were working on a problem and you walk away or go to bed without a solution, only to have that light bulb go off and the solution just come to you while you thought you weren't even thinking about it. How about the time you couldn't remember someone's name, only for it to come to you days later out of the blue? Where did these moments come from? How and why did they come? Mr. Johnson opens his book with the discussion of Charles Darwin at the age of 27, standing on a coral reef in the Indian Ocean and observing the vast array of living organisms. As the book goes on, he uses Darwin's experience and Darwin's writings to support his theory of where good ideas come from, along with those of some of the greatest scientists and inventors of all times. The story he tells and the evidence he uses opens up a new door to the way one thinks about ideas and how to bring them about, which brings me to his first chapter, The Adjacent Possible. Johnson takes the title from a suggestive name of a first-order combination of molecules possible in the primordial soup that could create a new molecule. Once that new molecule is created, the possibilities of new molecules increases, and so on and so on. Good ideas are similar. If a bunch of ideas are existing in a limited area like a room, then an adjacent possible exists that two ideas will combine, creating a new adjacent possible. The imagery of existing in a house with many rooms that one has to go through before getting to the room with the good idea is created. The problem in this house is that you need to find the key to the door in that room that will allow you to get into the next room, which is even more doors with the possibility of more rooms. Hence, with each new discovery, the possibility of more discoveries becomes possible in the adjacent room. The key is only found when two existing ideas or thoughts combine. Darwin found the first key the day he observed that coral reef. Using Darwin's theory of evolution, scientists now believe that all life came from the sea. For this, one needs to look to physical science. When molecules are in the solid phase, they vibrate in place and have no chance for collision with other molecules. If ideas are stifled, they won't be able to combine with other ideas. In the gaseous phase, everything is all spread out, so again, a collision is unlikely. But in a liquid phase, the molecules move about freely and randomly, being a perfect environment for the adjacent possible. Like molecules, ideas allowed to flow freely and randomly in society, possibly spilling over, have a greater chance to collide, forming new ideas. Again, like molecules, the more collisions, the larger or grander the idea can become. As Darwin traveled the world on the SS Beagle, they made a stop in the Galapagos Islands, where he gained another key. Darwin's time was at the tail end of the Enlightenment era of Europe, when intellects kept a commonplace book which was composed of all things interesting, from quotes to inspiring passages in one's own thoughts. Darwin took meticulous notes. This was a great place for a slow hunch to lie. Darwin's notebook became his third key. His notebook became a place where slow hunches were kept alive through the rereading of previous passages, giving his mind time to allow for them to collide. Serendipity is a fun word. It conjures up images in my mind of a lucky-go-lucky fellow who has a smile and always has the luck to get by. If you were to look the word up in the dictionary, you get the following definitions: an aptitude for making desirable discoveries by accident, good fortune, luck. And part of a good idea is the luck to have all the right pieces together at the right time, in the right environment, with the right amount of energy so a collision can occur. Darwin's good idea was building. In the 70s, Howard Gruber goes and revisited Darwin's notebooks. There are all the pieces to the what will be Darwin's theory of evolution written out, all but the words reproductive success. In Darwin's autobiography, he describes a day in October 1838 as his aha day, when he happened by luck to read Malthus on population, but his notebooks tell us that the idea of natural selection was in his head months before. Johnson puts it best when he states most great ideas first take shape in a partial, incomplete form. They have the seeds of something profound, but they lack a key element that can turn the hunch into something truly powerful. Darwin's chance reading of Malthus on population was yet another key. Many good ideas have been described throughout history as being the result of error.
This is the basis of Darwin's natural selection. Many of the errors that occur in DNA cause more harm than good, but once in a while, one occurs that if the organism is lucky, it will produce a change that has an advantage over the rest of the species, allowing it to survive and reproduce. For good ideas to occur, mistakes need to be made. We learn from our mistakes. Expectation is a predisposition towards adaptation. Think of a gorilla that uses a twig to obtain ants from an anthill. The gorilla thinks outside the box. He's able to look at something and realize the possible solution to his problem of obtaining ants. Good ideas come from the ability to do just that. Not to look narrowly at what might be a solution, but to look for other possibilities that can be adapted. This brings us to what I consider the most important part of where good ideas come from. Previous knowledge. Darwin's theory of atoll formation needed the knowledge of a naturalist, that of a marine biologist, and a geologist to recognize that it was the coral that formed the atoll and the volcano that supplied a platform for it to flourish. The history of scientific discovery and innovation of today's technology, as well as the evolution of the world as we know it, all share a similar progression, and Mr. Johnson uses many of them to support his theory of where good ideas come from. Good ideas don't really occur at one given moment, but they occur because of the environment that allows ideas to flow freely, colliding by luck with other ideas through errors and new uses, but all were built on the platform
of other ideas.